everybody, welcome to SILA Engage's Instagram Live. Today we are here with everybody. Hi everybody. So we have a few people who have joined in. We're just waiting for a few more to join. We're gonna add Juhi to this call.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello? Hi, can you? Is it better?
It's better, but I think yes, I can hear you. There's still a slight lag, I think there.
Okay. Okay, let me try to
Okay, no worries.
take
So
myself.
guys, through the video while we are having this chat, please put up your comments and please ask as many questions as you can. Today times are tough. We know we're all going through, heaps of mood swings in terms of, even with our work, our stress, our stressors are very different to what we are used to in our daily lives. But we hope that we can help you a little bit. Juhi, that's so much better. I can see you and we can hear you. And
Okay, great.
I think yeah, we're good to begin if you are.
Okay, hi everyone. So today, as Nonita has
Yes.
introduced to the topic that we're going to discuss is food and mood. Okay, so
Yes.
I'm going to just start with a small introduction about how food does affect your mood. Okay, so we all know that food is something that we run to when we have any emotions coming up. Any sort of like when you're feeling really down, you're going to sit with a tub of ice cream and eat it all, or like
Absolutely.
any of that. So that is your emotional eating. But that's one aspect of food, how food does affect your mood, right? And the second aspect is food affects how how food affects you physically, the same way it can affect you mentally, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So recently there was actually a trial that came out called the Smiles trial. So it was a research that they did on a group of people who are facing depression. Okay, so they did a study where they took these 56 participants facing this issue of depression, and they divided them into two groups. They were like, one group is now going to get dietary advice, which is specifically tailored towards them by a dietitian and a nutritionist, and the other group would be people who were just getting social support. At the end of these 12
Sure.
weeks, they found that the people getting the dietary support, which was talking about making sure they include some amount of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, good fats in their diet, dairy, were actually showed much better symptoms, improvement in their depressive symptoms. So this was one of like the breakthrough studies called the Smiles trial, if anyone wants to look it up, which showed that it does affect also your mental health, the way that you eat. So what would you like to start with, Nonita?
Yeah, so I mean, first thing that I'd like to know that, I just should mention this. The reason I love Juhi and the way she practices is because everything is science-based, and that's what we are working towards. I don't believe in fad diets. I am a personal believer of emotional eating as well, so I'm a victim. But everything that is, science-based, everything that has a reason behind it is something that I believe in. So that's why I love the way that you practice.
Ah,
The first
sweet.
thing
That's
that I'd like to
super
know
kind, Nonita.
is, I'd like to know, what are some of the ways that we can make positive changes or improve the way we eat? We have spoken about, how it affects us mentally and,
Yeah.
and how it affects our emotions. But what are the tools that we can use?
Okay. So whenever someone comes to me or any client comes to me, the first rule that my mom has actually spoken to me about, or something that we have grown up learning from her. Okay, I've learned entire whatever I've learned is also like 80 to 90% is from my mom, who's Suman Agarwal, and she's really helped shape the way I look at food. So we were never, when we were kids also, she never told us, don't eat this, or you can't eat this, or like you can't have the Lays, or you can't. Nonita, can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you. You're audible.
Okay, great. Yeah. So she never ever restricted any food. She was like, it's not like she ever told us you can't eat ice cream, you can't eat Lays, you can't have the Coke. Okay, Coke she really did not like. But she never instilled those aspects of like telling us that you're restricting foods from us entirely. So we were grown
Correct.
up and we were taught how to eat in a balanced way. So that is the
Correct.
main thing that I tell any of my clients who come, whether it's for gut issues, for weight loss, for diabetes, any issues that they face. The first thing is that you have to learn how to balance your diet. So how do you balance your diet? So
Right.
one of the best tips that I would like to share is each meal, like your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, these are your major meals. They should be balanced in terms of your carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and fiber. Now, carbohydrates are found in your bread, rice. They're predominantly carbohydrate-rich foods.
Sure.
So there's potatoes, there's rice, there's bread, there's roti, any of these. Okay, quinoa, all of these are carb based. So these are your carbs which you should include a portion of. Second is your protein. Make sure you get a
Right.
serving of protein in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because that will slow the absorption of glucose into your system, which will sort of stabilize it and keep you fuller and happier for longer. So you will not
Sure.
be running to find those high carb foods like biscuits and sugary sweets throughout the day. This will stabilize it
Correct.
to make you feel like you're feeling full, right? So proteins would
Absolutely.
be, vegetarian sources would be your dals. Okay, they're super good for you. Then there is dairy, which is any of your cheese, milk, yogurt, any of that. Paneer. Then non-vegetarian is your eggs, your chicken, fish, or you can also, vegetarian also has tofu and some nuts. And your fats is the oil that you cook in, and the fiber is what you get from fruits and vegetables. So make sure you include this as your include one of these for your breakfast, lunch,
Sure.
and dinner. One from each group. All right.
Sure.
So that's the first. Second, I would like to say that the timing of your meals also really matter. So our body is such, our brain is such that it actually takes up 20% of the entire energy used by our body is taken up by the brain. It's used up by the brain to function on a daily basis. So and
Sure.
what do I mean by energy? That is your glucose. Okay, so your glucose, your blood glucose is your brain uses up the blood glucose to function, and it takes up about 20%.
Absolutely.
That's a lot. As for how small
Absolutely.
the organ is, it actually uses up 20%. That's amazing. So we
Yeah.
need to feed that well, right? We need to feed our brain well. How do we do that? Glucose we get from our carbohydrate rich sources of food that I earlier mentioned. Okay, and this helps us to sort of focus, or like in our mental performance. So there was a study that was done which
Right.
actually showed, another study which showed that people who were fasted versus people who were given some amount of glucose, they assessed their memory
Right.
and their mental performance in terms of some amount of work. And they found out that people who were having the glucose, who were well fed and had
Right.
a good amount of glucose in their body, performed much better than the other group. So it shows that you do need some
Sure.
amount of glucose in your body functioning through the day, right? So your timing of your
Yeah.
meals matters important. It matters a lot when it comes to making sure you have enough glucose through the day. So I would say that you should keep your dinner and breakfast. So imagine your previous day's dinner and breakfast 12 hours apart. So in a way,
Okay.
that's like you're giving your gut 12 hours to sort of regenerate, and all the goodness that you hear about intermittent
Right.
fasting, you also get it with the 12 hours of intermittent fast. You don't necessarily have to
Correct.
do 16 hours. So 12
Correct.
hours you get.
Sorry, I'm going to
Yeah.
cut you here, but I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you this question with regards to
Yeah.
intermittent fasting. So, what is the difference between a 12-hour versus a 16-hour fast?
So when it comes to 16 hours, you're actually the whole basis of intermittent fasting and how it helps you health wise is through the process of autophagy, or basically your body is breaking down all the worn out cells, you know. So they say that the
Right.
16-hour studies, in terms of research, 16 hours fast have shown to be um, more beneficial than a 12-hour fast in terms of
Sure.
this process of autophagy. However, I would say the 12 hours in studies have also done really well. So for
Okay.
people, because it's not 16 hours is not conducive to
Yeah.
everybody. Suppose for a person
Yeah.
like me, I tend to get acidity when I don't have a lot of, if I keep a long gap between my meals, right? So a person like me who probably eat their dinner by 7 and eat my breakfast at 11 in the morning, I will start getting a lot of acidity. And that's something I do. That's why I don't promote 16-hour
Sure.
fast. Yeah, exactly. So these are just practical things you need to learn about your body and see what works for you. So if 16
Correct.
hours does not work for you,
Correct.
don't run behind it. Don't push your body to do that. 12 hours is good enough.
Okay.
All
Sure.
right. So
Okay.
one is the break between your dinner and your breakfast. The other thing I would like to mention is to keep your breakfast, lunch, evening snacks, and dinner at between a 3 to 4 hour gap. Do not
Okay.
eat your breakfast. Do not lessen the gap less than 3 hours or more than 4 hours. If you lessen it
Okay.
less than 3 hours, you're not giving your digestive system a break. And if you're increasing it to more than 4 hours, you're increasing the chances of acidity or overeating in the next meal, which again
Right.
increases your chance for acidity.
Right.
You
Right.
get it?
Yeah, that happens to me
So,
a
and
lot.
that,
If I skip a meal, then I end up eating more in my next meal, which is not conducive to then, because I become really like, I feel really heavy and uneasy after. So I get what you're saying. And I think it's just about learning what your body, is
tells you.
is conducive to. Yeah, and what it tells you. You have to learn a little bit about your body because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of young people and even people who are struggling maybe with weight loss today go in and do these extreme diets and go in for, pushing their bodies to, either bit later as well. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I lost the last part of your question.
No, so I'm saying please continue. I mean, we can, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. So that, yeah, so the reason timing is also important is because you're trying to stabilize your blood sugar levels so that your
Yes,
brain is not sensing it as okay, it's feeling like the sugar levels are too low. Because when the sugar levels are too low, you'll realize you start to get irritable, or like
right.
everyone knows it as hangry, right? You start to get
Hungry,
very
yeah.
angry when you're hungry. So after you're
Absolutely,
hangry,
absolutely.
so that's when you start to get a little irritable. You start to sort of your mood comes down. You hear your stomach starts growling. All of these are
Yeah,
your physical, mental sounds of signs of feeling hungry. You don't want to
yes,
reach that stage where you're super hungry. You should be taking
absolutely.
cues from your body to realize that okay, I am going to get hungry in half an hour. I can feel it. So start preparing your meal or deciding what you're going to eat, instead
Sure.
of letting your body, you letting your emotions take the better of your signs, your body's signs. Nonita, I think I've lost you. Yeah.
Understand
Yeah.
people are today move. Am I audible?
Yeah, now you're audible.
Okay, perfect. So, because we're speaking about knowing your body and learning about your body a little bit, a lot of people today are obviously becoming vegetarian or moving towards a vegan diet. So, what are your thoughts around that? And, is it conducive? Is that the way, we should be moving forward? We also have some very interesting questions at the bottom that are coming up, but first we'll, just take this one. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, one thing that I would like to say when it comes to switching to a vegan or a vegan diet actually, see, yes, if people are doing it for the environmental reasons or doing it for reasons which are for the welfare of animals, I understand and I wholeheartedly support you. But when people come up and they tell me for health reasons, I want to go completely vegan or vegetarian, I explain to them that, see, there you can be healthy while eating non-vegetarian foods or dairy as well. It's not like you have to completely cut them out of your
Sure.
diet.
Sure.
So I explained to them the concept of restrictive eating, or the fact that you shouldn't restrict yourself so much to the extent where you are troubling your house, whether it's someone's like wife or the staff at home or anyone. They're getting very bothered,
Sure.
right? Because they have to follow
Correct.
exactly
Correct.
your pattern of eating. So you have to also take that into account before you take drastic changes like veganism, in as your like in your life. So something that I
Sure.
do believe in is like a flexitarian diet. So it's
Okay.
where you're eating vegetarian predominantly through the week, and you eat chicken, or you're non-vegetarian like maybe once, twice, or thrice a week, and eggs. Now, so I eat eggs every day, okay, and I would eat chicken if I'm outside. It's just that I don't cook it at home, so I don't get to eat chicken at home. But
Sure.
that's what I'm trying to explain. I don't believe that you should completely go off meat or go off dairy just because of the perceived health benefits.
Sure.
Scientifically and research wise, the evidence shows that people who do eat vegetarian diets tend to live longer, also because of the added nutrients you're adding to your food. So the issue that I think with non-vegetarian diets is people don't have enough vegetables and
Veg.
fruits. So they
Okay.
tend to have bigger portions of their chicken or the rice or the roti, but they leave out the vegetables. So this is something I've practically seen when I speak to my clients. When they tell me what
Sure.
they eat on a daily basis, and especially the non-vegetarians, they tend to leave out the vegetables, which actually
Yeah.
have a lot of goodness that helps you with all ailments or all conditions, or prevents you from developing a lot of conditions, which I will discuss in the next 2 minutes. So this is something that we can suggest to people. When someone comes to
Sure.
me and they tell me I want to go vegetarian, I explain to them saying, no, you eat your chicken. What you should do is decrease the quantity of chicken, increase the vegetables in your diet.
Sure.
So that's how you learn, how you reach a balance,
Sure.
right? So what do vegetables have that really prevent them from developing chronic diseases or issues later on in life? So that is, fiber is one that is extremely important, because it regulates your gut. The fiber regulates your gut, slows down your sugar absorption, and makes you feel full. That's number one. And it
Right.
has a wide range of new vitamins and minerals that actually help you on a day-to-day basis, from making sure that you're not deficient in any of them, which could lead to some symptoms. So, in terms of
Sure.
mental health, let's discuss, or just your mood, let's discuss
Yeah.
the vitamins that actually, vitamins or minerals that would, deficiencies of these that would actually
Affect
affect
your,
your
yeah.
mood. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, for example, iron. Okay, iron is needed. It's present to build hemoglobin in your body. The hemoglobin helps you helps oxygenate your body entirely. So if you have less amount of iron in your body, you're going to feel very lethargic or tired through the day. So people who have
Sure.
low hemoglobins would be feeling along these lines. So what you have to do is include iron rich foods in your diet, and which is your beans, your legumes, or any lentils, along with green leafy veg, or even meat for that matter, has it. One tip that I would give for increasing iron in your diet would be to avoid having tea along with your meals, because
Okay.
tea has a component which actually does not let the iron get absorbed by your body.
Sure.
So that's one.
Sure.
Second thing, especially in terms of vegetarian.
How do you make sure that you're eating right and you're motivating yourself to do the same?
Okay, so first is, I would like to tell everybody that you need to acknowledge that emotional eating is a part of your life. Okay, so
Sure.
emotional eating out of boredom, out of stress, out of anxiety, it is a normal part of your life. Your body has learned to cope with stressful situations by eating in a specific pattern. Okay, so you have to first, instead of shunning it away and saying that, I shouldn't be emotionally eating at all, you have to recognize that it's a part of you.
Correct.
It's been a part of you since years together. So you have to, instead of shunning it away and letting it, burying it deep down inside you, actually learn from it. So acknowledge it and move forward. So how you would do that is, suppose you're like, I find myself doing it very often right now, is suppose I go to the kitchen, like I come back, I'm done with a few client calls, and I'm just a little anxious. I'm walking around because there's not much to do right through the day. I'll go
Sure.
to my kitchen, I'll open the fridge. But when I open the fridge, I actually take 5 seconds to think about whether I'm hungry, or I'm doing it out of boredom. So I actually take a
Yeah.
step back and think about it for a minute or two. And I'm like, okay, am I doing it just because I'm hungry? I mean, just because I'm bored, or am I actually hungry? So that is learning from your body, and learning your body's,
Correct.
what your body.
If you do it with being mindful of your body and what your body reacts to, it's good for you, right? But what about
Yeah.
these keto diets that people do just out of, taking it from the internet and things like that? So I want to also educate the viewers here today in a way that, they know that whether that's the go-to, or, you actually need to go to an expert or a professional to talk about this, and how do those also affect you mentally and physically?
Okay. So when it comes to these diets, like whether they're extreme diets, is something that I don't personally prefer or promote to a lot of my clients. I do believe in
Sure.
balanced diets. However, if people have a real, like, I try to explain to them the concept of a balance that you need. But in case they don't understand, they feel like, okay, no, I want to really follow this because person in my building or my friend
Correct.
circle tried it and lost a lot of weight. They will then plan to do it for themselves. That's when the
Correct.
issue actually arises, because those people who
Sure.
have lost a lot of weight could be under the guidance of a nutritionist and might not be telling you, or would have figured out a correct way of doing it. But for you to just follow it off the internet or from word of mouth is something that you
Correct.
shouldn't do, because your body is unique, okay, to yourself. Everybody's body is different, everybody's requirements are different. So your protein requirements is also based on your weight, your height, and your body frame. You shouldn't be following a diet of another ex person who is weighs different and is who has a completely different body composition as you. Number
Correct.
one. And because this can put you at a risk of 100 other diseases. If you have a family history of any sort of disease, you're more predisposing yourself to jump into that by following any diet that's out there. It's not good for you. Lots of people, when it comes to keto, they tend to go very high fat, and
Yeah.
so more fried foods, more cheese, more butter, more everything that they could
Yeah.
possibly find that will make them feel full because they're not having carbs, and at the same time keep themselves in ketosis, right? So this over a long period of time can actually be
Yeah.
very damaging to your arteries, right? Because you're clogging
Damaging.
them up with a lot of saturated fat. So there's a specific way of doing it.
Correct.
For people who are vegetarian and keto, you should be looking at the better versions of fat, which includes like your avocados, olives, maybe like almond flour, all of these, instead of going for more butter, fried foods, or cheese or mayonnaise, right? So these
Correct.
aspects is something that you are not going to realize by yourself, or you're not going to find on the internet. You will need to go to a nutrition expert or someone who understands your family history, your medical history, your body composition, and then help you with this. Number one. Now, how this affects your mood. So there's tryptophan that is like it's a signaling chemical in your brain, okay, that makes you feel happy or optimistic, right? So this is derived from a protein that you from it's derived from sorry, the neurochemical is called serotonin, which is derived from a protein called tryptophan that you eat.
Okay.
And how the serotonin reaches your brain is through the carbohydrates that you eat in your food. So
Correct.
there you go. You need a balance of your carbs and proteins
Yeah.
for this happy hormone to reach your brain, right? Now, study in research wise, they haven't been able to show that a high carbohydrate diet or a high protein diet is going to increase the amount of serotonin. But what they have found is that the lack of carbohydrates in your diet can result in low serotonin with as and it shows up as low mood. So when you have when you what is keto flu? Keto flu is basically where your brain is really foggy and you're feeling very down. So it shows up after a few days of being in ketosis, and that's when your brain is trying to tell you it's switching from glucose, not very happy when it's on a low carb diet, right? So this is what research shows you, that these diets like a high protein, low carb, can result in lower mood and feeling very down and tired. So people who are predisposed to diseases or to mental issues like mental health issues like depression are actually it's going to lead them into a downward spiral over a long term. So this is another reason why you need to be managed by a healthcare professional, whether a nutritionist, doctor, dietitian, to be able to decide what's good for you instead of
Correct.
following it off the internet.
Correct. All right. So Juhi, just to wrap that up, I just want to thank you for, doing this and being here with us. But we want to know a little bit more about you. So tell us, what is your go-to snack for the day? And if you are staying up late, what is your, late night cheat meal?
Okay, so I've been pretty good this quarantine in terms of not having many cheat meals. But let's say that, okay, I love mango with ice cream. Ice cream is like, it's wherever I go in the world, it's like I need to go to the first place that whenever I visit anywhere in the world is and a scoop of ice cream wherever I go. At any new ice cream shop, that whatever the famous ice cream shop in that city is, I need to be there. So ice cream is like my first and only love right now when it comes to food. And so right now,
That's
since
so.
mangoes are in season, I sit with like a bowl of ice cream and some cut mangoes, finely chopped mangoes, and I really enjoy myself. But that's like my go-to cheat meal currently.
Okay. Okay. Amazing. So we are going to take a few questions actually that are just at the bottom. I'm going to
Yeah,
open it up.
yeah,
Okay. Brown bread and rice can be consumed regularly.
yeah. Of
So
course.
can
So
brown
brown rice
rice
and
and brown
brown
bread be
bread are
consumed regularly?
actually yes, yes, they can, because they're lesser refined versions of white bread and white rice. If you like the taste, yes, you can consume them regularly. I personally have white rice both for lunch and dinner, and I'm like since I was probably 3 years old or 4 years old. So it's completely fine to consume brown bread or brown rice on a regular basis.
Okay, and is cereal a good midnight snack? Because all of us are up late. Is cereal a good midnight snack? Someone is asking.
So it is perceived as healthy, but no, I would suggest a midnight snack should not have any grains in them. So
Okay.
no bread, no rice, no cereals. Anything that is a grain should not be consumed other than your breakfast, lunch, evening snacks, or dinner. So post dinner, look for options like a fruit, some nuts, seeds, or maybe a glass of buttermilk.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything such as drinking too much water?
Um, you should be drinking water. You should be hydrating yourself enough so that your urine is basically it's not straw colored. It's completely transparent. That's how much you
Okay.
should be hydrating yourself on a daily basis. More than
So
that
that's
is
the
not
test.
necessary.
That's the litmus. Yeah.
Yeah. So for like women,
Okay,
it would be two
perfect.
liters, and men it would be 2.5 of water.
Okay, is soya chap healthy?
Soya has a bad name in like everywhere currently, but I don't believe so it's that bad. You have to be having a lot in a day for its estrogenic effects to show. So
Okay.
soya chunks is okay. It's a little processed, so maybe stick to lentils through the week and soya chunks
Okay.
maybe once or twice a week.
Okay, perfect. Is animal protein good? Herd should be avoided.
Herds. Can you spell
No,
that
no,
out for
no.
me?
She's saying that is animal protein good?
Oh,
Herd, it should be avoided. Yeah.
no, it is fine. It's completely fine. Animal protein is okay as long as you are consuming it in the quantities that you should be. Like I said earlier, people who are non-vegetarian sometimes have huge quantities of chicken in their one meal. That's what should be reduced, and a whole portion of vegetables added to it to balance it out. but animal protein is completely fine. And it's actually very
Okay,
good for you. You get a lot of vitamins and minerals that you don't get from foods.
okay, so guys, thumbs up for all protein. All protein is good for you. Is consuming plain curd after lunch good and can be continued? Can we consume curd after dinner as well?
So curd, yes, curd or yogurt can be had with your meals in for lunch or dinner. In terms of people, some people find it a little difficult or irritable to their throat. So or people who have asthma should avoid it post,
Sure.
like in the evening or post, let's say 5, 6 in the evening, and should stick to having it in the first half of the day. But otherwise, there's no reason why you can't include it in either of the meals.
Okay, perfect. Rumor has it that eating raw vegetables during COVID-19 can increase chances to exposure to the virus. Is that true? So now I'm not sure if this is the right forum to ask this question, but everybody is keeping well at this time. I will connect with you guys soon and
Thank
see
you
you in
so much.
session